Hi, this is Gary. Welcome to today's video. So today we're going to continue that mini series I've been doing about my top 5 pens that I've bought since the start of the year. Last week we looked at those that were under 50 Australian dollars, and in this week's video we're going to explore those that are over $50. So join me now down on the mat and let's look at these pens and explore them a little bit. So here we are down on the mat. Now these top 5 pens, these are not in order of preference, they're in alphabetical order because how would you choose your favourite really? So I thought let's just go alphabetical. First pen we've got is this one. This is the most expensive pen that I currently own. This is the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande and it's in this gorgeous dark Hawaii finish. Let's just fetch that in. I love the looks of this pen. You know, it's blue. But then we've got some greys in there, we've got some browns, some cream. It's like a spaghetti pattern, it looks really nice. And we come on back round. Just take the cap off. It's got a really nice Leonardo nib. This is a Joe nib. And it's got that Leonardo, it's a slightly different section, so it's actually a really nice comfortable one to hold when you're holding the pen down low, which is what I do. The way that this has been made, it just fits my finger really nice. It's a steel nib, you can get them in gold nibs, but you're paying almost double for the pen then. And this is a piston filler, so we've got the piston cap here. I won't be playing with that whilst we're talking. Really nice pen. So we've got the Leonardo, Momento Zero, Grand. It's got a medium nib and it cost a whopping $479. As I said, it's the most expensive pen I own. The ink in here by Robert Oster. And it's Cafe Crema. It's a really nice pale brown colour. Really like this. When I put this ink in this pen, my wife was not happy because generally I do tend to match the ink colour to the primary colour of the pen. So the past colours I've had in here, they've been blue. But I thought, there's no law saying you got to do that. And when I was looking at this, I saw, well, you know, we've got some brown in here. So I thought, there it is. That's enough of an excuse. And I put some brown ink in it because I love brown ink. Let's move the mic for our writing sample. It's so nice to write with. Fetch the pen in. We've got some really nice shading coming through in the ink. We've got all sorts of light areas. It's nice and smooth. There's the tiniest little bit of feedback, which I quite enjoy. I like to know that I'm writing and that tiny bit of feedback lets me know that. I love this pen. I love the looks of it. I love the colouring. I love the way it feels in my hand. It's a piston filler and this is one of the downsides. There's no ink window. There's no way to see how much ink is left in the pen. So that means if you're going to be heading off somewhere where you don't have your ink bottle, you don't know if you've got enough to last the day, which is a bit of a shame because to me that's the only downside I can really call out in this pen. It is an absolutely gorgeous pen. It's an absolutely gorgeous writer. Let me fetch in my Rhodia paper. So here we go. So as you can see, Leonardo Momento Zero Grande with Robert Oster Cafe Crema. Really nice. I love the look of the ink on this paper. Flows so nicely. You know, we've got the shading coming through again. It really does fetch out the best in it. I have had another few inks in here. Let me see if I can find them in my book. As you can see, I've used this book when I'm testing my pens, and as I'm going through, I make notes in it about what I'm thinking of the pen and the ink combination. Here we are. This is Diamine Eau de Nil. Don't get as much shading coming through in this, but it's another really nice coloured ink. It's slightly different. It's not an in-your-face blue. It's more of a grey blue. Looks, again, really nice in here. And if I can find the other page. As you see, I've had quite a few pens that I've been testing. And the other page is right at the beginning. And here's another Diamine ink, Sargasso C. I always spell this wrong, I don't know why. Again, not a lot in the way of shading, but still looks really nice. Let's flip back. Lovely colour. I have tried this out on a couple of cheaper notepads. I don't normally use this on the cheap notepads because it's so expensive, so I try and keep it from the nice ones. But even on a cheaper paper, works really nicely. So this is the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande. Pen number 2 is by Narwhal, and it's the Narwhal Skullkill. Now this colouring is called Chromis Teal. I've got another Narwhal, let me fetch that in. This is another Skullkill, and this is in Paw Peter Navy. One of the things that I would say with the Narwhal pens, the colouring again is gorgeous, it's unusual, it's different. Let's get rid of the blue one. The blue one, that's got a flex nib, and I mean I'm having a bit of fun and games with that because I've never used a flex nib before. If we take off the cap, you know, it's another number 6 size nib. There it is. It's all silver. No need to post it. It fits really nice in the hand. Can you post it? Yes, you can, but it posts here, as I don't know if you can see, onto the filler cap. And I'm worried that I'll trigger this because this is another one where it's a piston filler. Now, unlike the Leonardo, this one has got an ink window. So there it is, so you can see the ink in it. It's a nice writer though. So we've got a Narwhal, Skullkill. This is such a weird one to write. SCHUY. There we go. It's got a medium nib. And it cost $89. Of the pens that I'm going to be going through today, this is the cheapest. The ink in here is by Diamine. And it's marine. With this pen, I tend to alternate between 2 inks, this Diamine Marine and also Diamine Aqua Lagoon, which is the same colour family to be honest, just a slightly different shade. I love both of them in it. You know, it picks up so nicely with the colouring in the pen. Let's do our writing sample. So that's another nice writer. This one, it's not quite as feedbacky as that Leonardo. It's a little bit smoother, but it's quite nice to write with. I do think sometimes maybe I should put some brown ink in here because there is a lot of brown in the body there. That might be quite different to try. I've got a number of different brown inks, but so far I've been loving this pale aquamarine type colours that I've been using. The pen, as I say, is the cheapest of all the ones we're looking at today. It feels soft when I'm writing with it, which is nice, but it doesn't have really very much feedback, and I like to have that bit of feedback. On cheaper paper, I have found that I get some show through, which is a shame because it does spoil it in a way so I can only use one side of the paper. I love it being a piston filler and I love that ink window. Posting, I would like to be able to post it, but I'd like it to come down further. But to be honest, there's no real need because it's such a long pen anyway. Let's look at the Rhodia paper. There we are. Narwhal Skullkill. On here, really nice looking. You know, I've said it here, it's one of the nicest combinations that I have. It can take a while to dry, so that's something I do also need to look at. But that could be a combination of the ink and the pen, not just the pen itself. But all in all, I really like this pen. So this is the Narwhal Skullkill. Our next pen is by Opus 88, and it's the Chloro. This pattern is blue on blue, and although it says blue, I mean, yes, definitely, this part is blue. The other, it's more of a tealy colour to me rather than blue. I love the look of this. This is another one, and you'll get fed up on me saying this because with all the pens, I love the way they look. Just look at that. You know, you've got that silver there. You've got the blue ebonite, and then this transparent. As I say, it's more of a tealy colour to me. If I take the cap off, it's a bit of a shorter pen, as you can see here. It's not something that means I can't use it unposted. It doesn't, there we go, it does post. It's fairly secure when it's posted. Doesn't really make much of a difference to the weight either. This one is an eyedropper pen. Let me just fetch that cap in to stop it from rolling off, which means that you take the section off and then you have to use either a syringe or an eyedropper to put the ink into it. Result of that, it takes an awful lot of ink. It really does. The ink in here is a sample and it took the full 2ml sample. Really takes a lot of ink. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to write through this because so far I'm still on that same first fill. You can see here, I've had to unscrew this cap. That's because there's a plunger going down here. And what the plunger does, when it's screwed down, it seals off the section from the body. So that, say you were flying, which that would be nice, wouldn't it? You don't have to worry about potentially losing the whole body full of ink if there's any issues with air pressure. You'd only lose a little bit in the section. Whereas without it, that air pressure change could mean everything goes. And if you've just filled it, 2ml of ink is going to go a long, long way. So when you're writing, you need to release it. So you just unscrew it. That lifts that plunger away from the bottom, unseals it, means you have no problem with writing. Now, a couple of times I forgot to do that. And after I've written maybe half a page, the ink runs out and I'm thinking to myself, oh dear, what's wrong here? But it's purely because I forgot to undo that. As soon as I unscrew that, it works perfectly. So this pen is an Opus 88 Colora. It's got a broad nib and this cost me $120. The ink is by Troublemaker, which is a Philippine-based manufacturer, and it's called Opon Channel Blue. Really nice colour. I'm guessing Opon Channel must be a bit of sea or ocean around the Philippines because it's definitely got that ocean colour coming through, that tealy type colour. I'll just move the mic. This is a really smooth pen, a really smooth writer. It's almost like writing on glass. I'm not overly happy with that, but that's personal choice. But it doesn't stop me from using it. This is a pen I do find myself reaching for quite often. Just fetch that back in so we can see it again. I love the colouring of this. I love the way it's really simple with the colouring. Where the previous two pens have had that complex patterning, this is simple and that simplicity is really nice. I love the colour of the ink that comes out of this. Let me just fetch in my Rhodia paper. Here we go. Look at that. I had a bit of a dodgy start in here, which if you've seen my unboxing video, you'll see that. What I did was I cleaned it out. I'd put the ink in. I'd left it a few minutes, but it wasn't long enough for the ink to get properly into the section because it was full of water. So when I started writing with it, it was so light and pale, and I was expecting it like this, really dark, but it wasn't. It was just like looking at virtual water. After a while, once I got rid of all that water from the section, it started coming through with the real colour, and it's gorgeous. Again, it's that tealy colour. I do like my greens, I do like my teals. Looks really nice. On the Rhodia paper, again, showing some character. When we look here, there's a lot of shading coming through. Nice pen to write with. So what are my thoughts with this? It's smooth. Even on that cheaper paper, it's very smooth. It's like writing on glass, and that's one of the things which puts me off it. Not enough that I wouldn't use it, not enough that I wouldn't buy some more, but enough that I'm aware of it. I love this shut-off valve. Let me just screw that down whilst we're on camera. There we go. So that's fasten that shut-off valve. Really good idea. Means I'm not going to lose the ink if I should ever happen to have a problem with air pressure. I love the fact that the body here is transparent. You can't really see it because it's full of ink. But you can see here, you can see the colour in there, and here where you can see the nib through it as well. That means I can see my ink level, so I know I've got plenty of ink in there. Whereas with like the Leonardo, I don't have that. So this is the Opus 88 Colora. Just going to move the paper up so we can get the final two pens onto here. There we go. So the fourth pen we're going to look at. This is the big one. This is a Ranga Model 6 and it only just fits into camera. This is the Leonardo Momento Zero Grande to give you an idea for the size. And I'm also going to fetch in this one. This is a Pilot Metropolitan. It's a big pen, it really is. It's called the green stripe pattern. If we look at it here, we've got a predominantly black body. Bits there, we've got some grey, and then there's this gorgeous sheening green coming through. Really pretty. Now there's no clip on this. The way you know where the body is here is the bit that tapers. So if I unscrew this, there we go. What that reveals is this, which is the Ranga nib. Really nice nib. Again, you can see it's gold with the silver. It's still a big pen. I'm just going to unscrew the body. There we go. Unscrewing the body. I've got a cartridge converter in here. It does come with a cartridge converter, but there's no metal anywhere. This pen could so easily be eyedroppered. I've got to be honest, I have no intention of doing that. The pen is just so big. It really is. It's a beast. In the hand, you can see how long it is, but it's fairly light. You can hardly tell that it's there. It's not a heavy pen. Does it post? Yes, it does, but it makes it very back heavy, and to be honest, I wouldn't want to. Now, that's a slight issue for me. There's nothing on there to stop it rolling off my desk, and it's done that a few times. So this is a Ranga Model 5. And this one, again, it's got a broad nib. It's $142. The ink by Van Diemen. And it's Apple Island Green. Let's move the mic for our writing sample. It's a big pen. It's a lovely pen though. It's really nice in the hand. One of the issues I do have with it, now you may have heard that, nib is a bit scratchy. Now I got it with the Ranga nib. Ranga pens come with a whole choice of different nibs. My decision to go with the Ranga, I'm pleased I did, because again, it's scratchy, it's feedbacky, it's like writing with a pencil. I love it, really is nice. The ink I've got in here, this Van Diemen Apple Island Green. I've had this ink about a year, and no matter what pen I've put it in, it's really not looked nice at all until I put it in this pen. I love this ink in this pen. This is another one where I don't think I'll play around too much with the ink selection because it works so well. Let me fetch in the Rhodia pad. So here we go. You know, this is a big pen. I've called it out right from the start. It is a big pen. I love it. It's really nice. It feels so nice in the hand. I don't see a lot of shading with this ink, but I love the colour of the ink, so I don't care. On here though, you know, you're not really seeing much. You know, you look at the smudges at the bottom. There's a little bit there. Really do like this pen. This is another one, writes really nicely on the cheaper paper. Again, no shading, doesn't matter. I'm not expecting anything like that from the cheaper paper. Would I buy another of these given the size? I absolutely would. But what I think I would do is I would go for a different nib because yes, this one's scratchy, but I'd like a different nib so I can compare them as well. But this one here, this is the Ranga Model 5. Hardly fits in the screen there, does it? Can I get in? Yes, there, just about. So the last pen, this is a Twisby and it's the Twisty Draco. This is a lovely pen. It reminds me a lot of the pen from last week, which was the Delight New Moon 2. Just move that to the paper. I'm going to fetch that Delight in. The Delight, the patterning is a bit darker really. I love the brightness of the Draco. It's also, the Delight's a lot smaller. It's a fraction of the price though. Let's take the cap off. So here we have this pen. It's like most Twisbys. It fits nicely in the hand. It's got this gorgeous nib here. They say that's rose gold. I can see it. It really depends on the light. It's another piston filling pen, so you've got the piston mechanism at the top. You've got an ink window, which is nice, although it is a bit hard because, I don't know if you can see, it's not the full window. It's only really half of it, but it's enough that you know you've got ink in there. So this is where I hope that I've got enough lines. This is the Twisty Draker. I got this with the broad nib. This cost me $215. The ink is by Diamine, and it's called Red Dragon. When I was putting this ink in, I was looking at the Draco. When I saw Red Dragon, I thought, well, Draco is, I believe, Latin for dragon. So I thought, yeah, that's got to be the match I've got. And the match looks really nice, so I think I did a good choice there. Going to move the mic for our writing sample. This is another pen that it's just a joy to write with. Yes, it's got a little bit of smoothness to it, but there's also that small amount of feedback. I don't know if that came over on the mic. It's nice to write with. It feels nice in the hand. Will it post? I didn't check that, did I? Yes, it will, just about, but it's twisting that filling mechanism when I'm doing that. So it's not a pen I would recommend posting unless you're happy to have ink all over the place. Love the colour. Just look at that gorgeous colour. I'm going to spin it around again. It's so nice to look at. And I know I've said that for virtually every pen in this video, but I really do like this. I've had this now nearly 2 months. It hasn't run out of ink yet, so I haven't had to refill it. And I love this ink with this pen. I fetch in my Rhodia paper here. You know, I've said it rewards big writing. It's not something I would be taking little notes with. It likes to have that flow about it. So the pen and ink combination really, really wet. So not something you use when you're doing a lot of notes. But even so, it's still nice. So let me put that there. This is the Twisty Draco. Let me take all this away and I'll fetch all the pens in for one final look. So here they are, the pens. The Leonardo Momento Zero Grande, the Narwhal Skullkill, the Opus 88 Coloro, the Ranga Model 5 that's so big it won't even fit inside the pen tray, and the Twisty Draker. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What do you think about my top 5 pens? What would your top 5 pens be? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the like button, hit that thumbs up. The more people that like and comment on my videos, well, it helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.